Hare Krishna, everybody. We'll start with the invocation. The invocation is on the introduction page of Bhagavad Gita. Follow along. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Tena Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. We welcome Sri Rang Prabhu. He's also in the process of getting caught up by listening to the previous recordings. Welcome and feel free to ask any and all questions.
Hare Krishna.
So before we begin, quick announcements. Coming Saturday, 26th of October, 10:30 a.m. Toronto time, is going to be a Kartik special session with our Siksha Guru, His Grace Bhakti Yoga Prabhu, on the topic of Ekadashi. So there will be no other regular class. This session on Saturday with Bhakti Yoga Prabhu is in lieu of our regular class. Devotees from all 7 batches will attend this one very big session. So my Zoom account has a limit of 100 participants. To judge the required Zoom capacity, I request all of you to please answer ASAP on the poll to be posted on the WhatsApp group, whether or not you will attend the special session on Saturday, 26th of October. So please respond ASAP either way, yes or no, so that I can increase the Zoom capacity if required. So again, this is for coming Saturday, 26th of October, special session with Bhakti Yoga Prabhu on Ekadashi. I will post message in the WhatsApp group for this. The second announcement, that I will have to rearrange the class day and times for all the batches because of multiple reasons. And it's an opportunity for you all to connect with me offline if you are attending multiple batches to see that you have minimal impact. So this batch number 6 will stay on Saturday. Just the time will be different. Instead of 2 p.m., it will be earlier, around 10:30 a.m. I have not yet nailed down the time, but I will post messages ahead of time. And right now I am assembling information to try to minimize impact, with the understanding that I will not be able to accommodate 100% of the requests with so many batches and devotees from so many multiple locations. So it's an opportunity to practice austerity, but please connect with me. If you are attending multiple batches, you probably will have some impact. But all classes on Saturdays and Sundays, I'm going to rearrange because there is a need for multiple reasons. Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Thank you. So today, what we'll cover is first, I will answer inquiries submitted from the previous session. Then I will share Bhagavad Gita 2.2 and 2 summary. That was the spiritual endeavor from your last class. And then we will continue from Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse number 11 onwards. So let me bring up on screen the inquiries. Now the computer is running a little slow. Okay. Question number 1 is, how to start implementing Bhagavad Gita in daily life and ignore Pratyaksha Praman? There's a super excellent intent to practice Bhagavad Gita principles on a day-to-day basis and live at the level of soul in this body, in this world. This is going to be our bottom line goal, this question number 1. So we'll be doing a lot of practice as we progress. The practice of Bhagavad Gita is in the next books of Nectar of Instruction and Nectar of Devotion. I have incorporated some practical aspects while we are studying Bhagavad Gita. Plus, next time our team goes for services at the Toronto Temple, I will recommend devotees from this new batch, you all, to also come for services and learn the practice part of Bhagavad Gita. As we progress, I will explain a lot of practical aspects little by little. The first step of applying Bhagavad Gita is to memorize verses while doing your day-to-day chores or even 24 hours. Will get covered today in our class for Bhagavad Gita 2.13 verse. So I do not want to overwhelm you with me offloading all the practical aspects right away. Let's take baby steps at a time. Therefore, today we'll take the first step of memorizing as the practical aspect of remembering Krishna 24 hours. And we will learn a lot of practical aspects to use Shastra Chakshu, meaning the eyes of scriptures instead of Pratyaksha Praman. I have given an example of lottery advertisement earlier, that if you hear lottery advertisement, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make you dream, even though you haven't bought the ticket, you haven't won the lottery, but they make you dream. So you can remember 2.62, which starts with Dhyayato Vishayam Pumsa. So Dhyayato is imagination. It's a very correlated word to the lottery advertisement that they try to make you imagine. And this way, you can see through the eyes of scriptures. So stay tuned. A lot of practical points are coming up in small chunks. That definitely is a very good intent. Is everyone okay with the plan?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Question number 2. If we can also add one more day in a week for our Bhagavad Gita classes, so we cannot lose our concentration and focus. Again, this is a super excellent inquiry that you want to do more scriptural study. So as part of your spiritual endeavors for every week, if you read all the verses and purports for the verses we cover, as well as you listen to Srila Prabhupada's lectures in details by taking notes, you will end up spending a lot of time during the week on such spiritual endeavors. Srila Prabhupada's lectures, each lecture has anywhere from 20 to 30 plus very important points. And further, I will recommend at batch number 5, when Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Shishopanishad, and Srimad Bhagavatam starts, Nectar of Instruction will start towards end of January 2025 or beginning of February 2025. I will recommend to all who can join these additional classes together with your Bhagavad Gita study. So that will be an additional help, because by the time Nectar of Instruction will start, you would have covered a little bit about Bhagavad Gita. You will know some portion of it. So many devotees across various batches attend multiple classes. So even devotees present here, we have Abhishek Prabhu, Deepali, Matan, Mansi, Monarch. You do attend multiple classes. You want to share something?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It is a nice engagement, I think.
All right.
Trying to think that it keeps occupied.
Okay.
It keeps us occupied.
Okay, so that's an alternative. Instead of adding additional class for Bhagavad Gita, it probably will overwhelm many devotees. I mean, I can do class every day, but I'd want to be at a reasonable pace. So we have to practice. It's not about accumulating knowledge or jnana in our head. We are trying to become a bhakta. We are trying to practice so that we go slow and we try to absorb everything. Question number 3. How can we make sure we think deeply on spiritual endeavors instead of a quick answer? So meditate on the question while you are doing your japa and ask Krishna for answers instead of simply jumping the answer. Does that help?
Yes, Guruji.
Thank you. Question number 4. Please explain the relevance of the question, advice is freely available in our spiritual life. So it is not that spiritual life, it is in the material world that everyone wants to give free advice to everyone. On the spiritual path, you have to ask questions. Although spiritual masters and devotees are kind enough to guide newcomers even without asking. So we discussed in our previous class that Arjuna was lamenting at 2.1 verse, and in response Krishna only gave a pep talk. Hey, how have these impurities come upon you? Because up to 2.1 Arjuna has not made any inquiry. And at verse 2.10 also Arjuna was lamenting, and from 2.11 onwards Krishna spoke the whole Bhagavad Gita. So what's the difference between the two lamentation at 2.1 and 2.7 is that at 2.7 Arjuna has made an inquiry and asked Krishna to instruct. Does that answer the question?
Yes, Guruji.
Thank you. Question number 5. So Krishna and Arjuna are friends from their childhood. Krishna's role in the war was being an advisor and chariot driver. How did Arjuna choose to surrender to Krishna on 2.7 verse? Because till this time, they were just friends, not knowing Krishna's true identity as the Supreme Lord. Very good. So Arjuna is a pure devotee. All pure devotees, they descend in the material world around Lord's descent to assist the Lord in his mission. Yogmaya influences the pure devotee to forget Krishna's supremacy so that rasa can be exchanged in a natural way. Example, Mother Yashoda is also a pure devotee. She knows that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But due to Yogmaya is an energy of Krishna that facilitates the pastimes for Krishna. So because of Yogmaya, Mother Yashoda forgets that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that there is a loving exchange of rasa. Example, the most relishable Damodar Leela, where Mother Yashoda tries to bind Krishna to the altar, just what we have on the screen. This Damodar Leela is the most relishable pastime. So if Mother Yashoda does not forget that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it would be impossible for Mother Yashoda to pick up a stick and beat up Krishna. So Arjuna is also a pure devotee, and Arjuna already knows Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But due to Yogmaya's influence, this information gets covered temporarily so that Arjuna is put into bewilderment, so that Bhagavad Gita can come to the world for the benefit of all of us. Does that answer the question?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you. Question number 6. Why does Srila Prabhupada sometimes praise Arjuna for compassion and sometimes criticize the same compassion? So, compassion is a required quality in a devotee. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada praises the compassionate nature. As we progress in our Bhagavad Gita study, we will understand from Srila Prabhupada that real compassion is for the soul and not for the body. So if someone shows compassion only for the body, that compassion is ignorance. Yes, say somebody is having some misery, you can start by showing compassion at the bodily level, but then you have to progress to the next level of showing compassion at the level of soul. Therefore, if you are only showing compassion for the body, that compassion is ignorance. Temporary body cannot be saved and eternal soul cannot be killed is the crux of our Bhagavad Gita discussion today for chapter 2, verses 11 to 30, where Krishna explains the Atma Gyan. Further, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 7, where Arjuna captures Ashwatthama and brings Ashwatthama in a tied up condition by the rope, Draupadi becomes compassionate and asks Arjuna to immediately release Ashwatthama, even though Ashwatthama has just very cowardly killed Draupadi's sons in their sleep. So there in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 7, Srila Prabhupada says that yes, one needs to develop the various qualities Draupadi is demonstrating. Still, Srila Prabhupada says that Draupadi's compassion is incorrect because Ashwatthama deserved to be punished for his cowardly act. So we have to learn the application of scriptures from spiritual master, bona fide acharyas, from Srila Prabhupada, all those who are in disciplic succession, rather than trying to apply Bhagavad Gita principles on my own through my contaminated mind and through a jnani process. So we have to learn Bhagavad Gita as a bhakta. not as a Jnani. Again, this is a very super excellent practical inquiry. Does that answer the question?
No, but I still don't understand. Like, well, I understand that so, Srila Prabhupada is praising compassion, and he's also saying this is because Arjuna is a pure devotee. It's not like, and then again, well, I can see that he's explaining different levels of the same act, but it's just not very clear.
What is not clear?
Well, like, how does he say that? Like, if he's saying that same thing is good and same thing is bad, then how should we take
Yeah,
it?
so Arjuna was compassionate in chapter 1, that Arjuna was compassionate even for the soldiers of opposite army. And Prabhupada and Krishna goes on to say to Arjuna, Krishna says to Arjuna, we'll soon cover in the very first verse, Krishna's address to Arjuna is that, Arjuna, you are talking in big words, but you are fool number 1 because you are talking at bodily level. And the same Arjuna goes on to kill the same warriors for whom he had compassion. And we'll cover in Srimad Bhagavatam that actually by Arjuna's killing the warriors, these warriors actually attained spiritual destination because Arjuna's arrows have the same capacity as Krishna's blessings. So actually it was a blessing. Therefore, Arjuna's compassion initially at the bodily level was ignorance. And therefore, Prabhupada goes on to say that compassion at bodily level is ignorance. You have to have compassion at the level of soul. So this compassion at the level of soul will come up in chapter 5, chapter 6, many places. I'm specifically pointing out to few verses. I think it's in chapter 5, around verse 26, not 26, 5.23 and 6.32, where we'll have this more discussion about compassion. Abhishek Prabhu, does that help you further?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you. Somebody has joined on the Zoom call, says P Android. Request you to please identify and put your correct name. Hi Krishna, unmute, identify yourself. Hare Krishna, somebody has joined as P Android. Unmute yourself and identify yourself. Okay, I cannot hear you. Question number 7. Is it true that Bhagavad Gita was heard by everyone present on battlefield of Kurukshetra? Does the purport of verse 2.10 indicate the same point? So in 2.10 purport, the last 2 lines it reads, where the question has arisen from. The last 2 lines says that it appears that the talk between the master and disciple was openly exchanged in presence of both armies, so that all were benefited. So the talks of Bhagavad Gita are not for any particular person, society, or community, but they are for all. And friends or enemies are equally entitled to hear them. So for the universal form point, it is clearly stated that no one on the battlefield saw the universal form. It is clearly stated that universal form was seen by Arjuna, Sanjaya, and demigods, the universal form that was shown on the Kurukshetra battlefield. So the point that Srila Prabhupada is making with this statement in 2.10 purport is that Bhagavad Gita is a manual for everyone, irrespective of what religious belief one follows. Does that answer the question?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. But Prabhu, further to it, like my question is it heard by Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya, Duryodhan, like in the opposite army too?
I have not read anywhere where it says that they heard when Krishna was speaking. They could have read afterwards. Of course, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, the Bhishma Dev prayers, where Bhishma Dev does glorify Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. But I have not read that all these warriors heard Bhagavad Gita while Krishna was speaking to Arjuna. They must have read afterwards at some point of time. That's my Pratyaksha Praman. So don't take it. It is my Pratyaksha Praman. So again, I am qualifying the statement that I have not read myself anywhere. Does that help you?
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, thank you.
All right. Question number 8 is, I did not understand the last few lines of 2.7 verse stating the unborn within Krishna. So towards the end of 2.7 purport, it says this statement that yet foolish mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna. So this unborn within Krishna is referring to the impersonal Brahman effulgence, that the foolish people think that the impersonal Brahman effulgence is the highest and not surrender to the personal form of Krishna. Does that answer the question? Okay. What is miserly weakness? So we discussed this at our last class, that miserly weakness means attachment to family relatives based on bodily conceptions. This leads to bondage and suffering. So Brahmana is a person who lives in a way to seek the absolute truth, while Kripana is a person who lives in a short-sighted way, wanting quick gains and not thinking long term. So we should live like a Brahmana, meaning in a Shreyas way, to use the body to go back home to Godhead. And we should not live like misers in using the body for temporary and insignificant sense enjoyment. So that's where the word miser comes from these 2 points. That one is the attachment at the bodily level, and the other word miser is to not use the body for what it is capable of getting us back home to Godhead. Last question for today. Please explain this, that Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhan because of financial assistance, although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. So Bhishma and Drona were getting their livelihood from the Hastinapur palace. Therefore, they became obligated to fight on the side of Adharmi Duryodhan, and they ignored other moral rules in coming up with a decision to fight on the side of Duryodhan. Therefore, it says that Bhishma and Drona were obligated to fight on the side of Duryodhan. Although, we will discuss this in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, which are Bhishma Dev's prayers just before quitting his body. We will discuss that actually it was Krishna's plan, a very big plan, to place the very powerful Bhishma and to place this undefeatable Bhishma on the side of Duryodhan, to teach to the world that no matter how powerful you are, if you are against Krishna's plan, you will be defeated. So Bhishma Dev is a pure devotee and one of the 12 Mahajans. In the entire creation, there are only 12 Mahajans. Mahajan means one who knows the entire existence and entire spirituality in full. So Bhishma Dev is one of the 12 Mahajans. So Krishna had specifically asked Bhishma Dev in his previous life to play this part of Bhishma Dev in the Mahabharata war for teaching the rest of the world this very important lesson that no matter how powerful you are, you will be defeated if you are against Krishna's plan. Does that answer the question? Questions, comments, realizations? Okay. So here's the summary of 2.2 verse. Please take a snapshot. So I have not assembled on the slide data from everyone. Everyone did 1 or 2 points in bits and pieces. Everyone did a very good job. So here are basically almost all of the points from 2.2 verse. Take a snapshot and read at your convenience. And here is 2.7. Again, devotees did a good job of completing and assembling key points. And I have assembled almost all of the points on a slide. So I again request, my humble request to all the devotees who are not endeavoring on the spiritual endeavor, I request you to please connect with me offline. I am here to serve you all. So please connect with me offline and let me know how I can serve you, how I can help you so that you can do spiritual endeavors. Otherwise, you will end up leaving Bhagavad Gita study very, very soon. Because these spiritual endeavors are meant to develop spiritual taste. If you think you know Bhagavad Gita already and you don't have to worry about these spiritual endeavors, understand that this is your arrogance talking. We will study in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, the creation topic, that our body, our entire universe is largely created out of false ego. So drop your arrogance, endeavor. And if you actually think you know Bhagavad Gita, then teach me Bhagavad Gita. I actually don't know. I am only repeating what I have heard. So my humble request to all of you, including those who listen to class recordings, that please endeavor every week. Please listen to Srila Prabhupada lectures every week. If you miss class recording, get class recording from me and listen to class recording at your earliest convenience. And endeavor. Otherwise, you will leave spiritual path very, very soon. I have record from the past previous batches where all those who do not endeavor very soon leave Bhagavad Gita study. Questions, comments, realizations?
So you asked us to have a question. So you asked us to summarize verse 2.2 and 2.7. So is that the summary?
Yeah. So what I had on screen was the summary. What devotees did was some devotees only had 1 or 2 points. So I put everything in on one slide for the benefit. Matan Prabhu?
Okay, thank you.
And if you miss class, I request you to please listen to recording because there is a continuity. of what we discuss. It's not just standalone discussions that we are having. All right. So we will continue from chapter 2, verse number 11 onwards. So this is section 2. Section 2 is verses 11 to 30. Title of this section is Jnana dash fight. Soul is indestructible, therefore fight. And this is Krishna's response to Arjuna's objection that if Arjuna fights, then Arjuna's relatives will be killed. So Krishna tells, don't live in the ignorant bodily concept, but rise to the enlightened spiritual conception. Performance of dharma never causes harm to anyone, and it brings ultimate good to everyone. So Arjuna has given in chapter 1 this argument that compassion is the reason to not fight. So here in this section 2, verses 11 to 30, Krishna counters Arjuna's compassionate argument from both viewpoints, that temporary body cannot be saved, eternal soul cannot be killed. Therefore, compassion for the temporary body is ignorance. Abhishek Prabhu, read verse 2.11 translation and first two lines in the purport.
Hare Krishna. 2.11. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. But the Lord at once took the position of the teacher and chastised the student, calling him indirectly a fool. The Lord said, you are talking like a learned man, but do not know that one who is learned, one who knows what is body and what is soul, does not lament for any stage of the body, neither in the living nor in the dead condition.
Okay, so we did discuss this point briefly in the question answer session about compassion. So Krishna is saying that you are talking as if you are very intelligent, but you are actually fool number one. So I request all of you to prepare yourself to be chastised by your living spiritual master. When you will get a living spiritual master, if you don't already have a living spiritual master. You can judge the same thing in Srila Prabhupada lectures, that Srila Prabhupada is speaking all these lectures to his initial direct disciples, and Prabhupada is almost chastising these disciples. So Prabhupada is not chastising for anything wrong. Prabhupada is just using strong words to shake up the bodily concept of life. So even after you get a living spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada will always be our spiritual master. So when spiritual master chastises, take the chastisement as blessings of spiritual master, because the spiritual master is trying to cure your disease and cure your misconceptions at the bodily level. So this does not mean that you accept chastisement without inquiring anything from the spiritual master. So when you get chastisement, simultaneously inquire from spiritual master. What is it that you as a disciple should do and you as a disciple should not do? So very important to ask both these questions. What you should do, and second, what you should not do. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. Deepali, verse number 12 translation.
Sorry, Prabhuji, 1 second. I just have to pull up the screen.
Mansi, read 12. Deepali can get ready.
Yes, Prabhuji. 2.12. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us case to be.
Okay, so this is a very significant verse in the overall message of Bhagavad Gita, that the verse says, we are all eternal. Even before Krishna teaches the first instruction about the soul directly, and even before Krishna gives the first instruction that you are not this body, you are the soul, in here in 2.12, first, Krishna emphasizes the eternality of personality and the eternality of individuality. That all of us are eternal persons. This verse very emphatically refutes Mayavad and establishes eternality of personality and eternality of individuality. So Srila Prabhupada refutes Mayavadi concept very strongly in the purport by saying that they are licking honey from outside the jar. And in the next verse 2.13, Krishna will continue the discussion about spirituality of the individuality. Now, this Mayavad philosophy, Mayavadis are very knowledgeable. Mayavadis are aware about the Brahman effulgence as well as the Bhagwan aspect. But they consider Bhagwan aspect to be also Maya. Mayavadis consider Brahman effulgence to be higher than Bhagwan. But that's not a fact. There are 3 levels of spiritual realization. The lowest is Brahman effulgence. The next level higher is Paramatma realization of the Paramatma within the heart. And the highest realization is Bhagwan realization. So the formless Brahman effulgence is actually supported by Bhagwan. And what Mayavadi says that because we cannot think of the impersonal and the formless Brahman right now, therefore meditate on this form of Krishna, which is also temporary, which is part of Maya, and then you go beyond this form of Krishna to the formless Brahman effulgence. So they think that the manifestation of the form that Krishna has is a transitional tool for meditation. And they think that this transitional tool for meditation, the form, is also product of Maya. So anytime anyone wants to go beyond Krishna, this is offense. To go beyond Krishna's words is offensive, or to go beyond Krishna's forms and pastime, that is also offensive. Questions, comments, realizations before we use the first memorization verse? Prabhu, you have a question? Srirang Prabhu?
Yeah, I was just thinking, is it even possible for someone to go beyond Krishna's words if...
It's not possible. It's what they are preaching. The Mayavad, what they are saying is that Krishna is not the highest God. Therefore, you focus or meditate on the form of Krishna and then go beyond Krishna to the effulgence. So what they are preaching, the incorrect preaching that Brahman effulgence is higher than Krishna, that makes them offensive. In reality, it's not possible to go beyond Krishna. Sharang Prabhu?
Thank you.
Monarch Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So Prabhu, as you mentioned, there are three levels of realization: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So Prabhu, Prabhupada has mentioned in many books that from Brahman realization, there are many chances of fall down.
So don't set a base, ask your question.
Yeah, so Prabhu, my question is there any chance of fall down from Paramatma level too?
So there is no mention anywhere in scriptures about fall down from Paramatma realization. But understand the concept of fall down first. What fall down does is that you reach Brahman effulgence and there is no activity, and soul can never be inactive, therefore they fall down to the material world so that they can continue from where they left off. Now, what happens in Paramatma realization? So this is Ashtanga Yoga process. In Ashtanga Yoga process, and we'll cover this in our Yoga Letter class. Yoga Letter class will happen briefly at the start of chapter 3 and towards the end of chapter 6. Those who follow Ashtanga Yoga process without bhakti, they attain Paramatma realization. A Paramatma realization is not full realization. So for those who have attained Paramatma realization, they have two options. We'll cover this in Yoga Ladder. They have two options. One is they add bhakti to reach Bhagwan, the highest realization. The challenge with this is Ashtanga Yoga, they stop activity. Ashtanga Yoga is very much similar to Gyan Yoga. So it is very difficult to restart activity when you have stopped. So that's a challenge for Ashtanga Yoga. And the other option is that Ashtanga Yogi can come down to Karma Yoga level and take the Karma Yoga to Bhakti Yoga path. Either way, they have to do something. So in scriptures, from Brahman effulgence, fall down is crystal clearly mentioned. For Paramatma realization, or those who follow the Ashtanga Yoga and attain Paramatma realization, they have been given these two options. The word fall down is not referred, but they have been given these two options to continue their spirituality. Because soul cannot be satisfied at Paramatma realization also, because that is also partial realization. Monarch Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. And Prabhu, is it possible to do Ashtanga Yoga process in the age of Kali?
It is not possible. Therefore, Ashtanga Yoga is not the process recommended in Kali Yuga. In Satyug, Ashtanga Yoga was the recommended process. But in Kali Yuga, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the easiest and the best process and the recommended process. Sankirtan Yajna is the Yajna. Sankirtan is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and distributing books. Monarch Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Everybody on the same page? Padma Kumar Prabhu, you had a question? Okay. So 2.13 is a key memorization verse. So I will recite the verse and I will first explain the verse, and then this memorization will become easy. I will also explain how to memorize this verse, and you can memorize it this way. With this trying to memorize, I want you to get your hands wet on the Sanskrit pronunciation and memorizing, so that when we have the Sanskrit class, you will get a lot more benefit out of it. Now, if you look at the words, the second word in the first line has an apostrophe on top of it. So Prabhupada has given us in the word-for-word translation how to pronounce that word. It says asmin. Although the A is not written, the apostrophe in Sanskrit refers to A. So initially you focus on the word-for-word translation and you will end up learning how to recite the Sanskrit. So I will recite, then I will explain, and then we will come back to the verse on how to memorize, and then we will also, all of us, recite the Sanskrit. So 2.13 is Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantra prapti dhiras tatra namuyati. Dipali, 2.13 translation. Matan Prabhu, 2.13 translation.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
So question for all of you. When you see someone after a long time, what do you say? Everybody must have seen somebody after a long time. What do you say?
I think we say it's been long, we haven't met, and we are seeing after a very long time. And how are you? Stuff like that.
Okay, what else? What else do you say?
You look different now.
Okay, you look different. Very good. What else? And what happens if you see a child after a long time? Somebody?
He grows older.
He grows. Very good. All of your correct answers. Yeah, Padma Kumar Prabhu also says you have grown up. So the child was small and the child is now grown up. So all of us have an unchanging aspect which is referred to as the soul, and all of us have a changing aspect which is referred to this body. So changes to the body within the same life, meaning childhood to youth to old age, are called internal reincarnation, versus when the soul gets a new body after leaving the current body, this is called as external reincarnation. So within the same lifetime, you can judge for yourself that when you all were a child, you had a different body. When you became youth, you had a different body. When you will become old, you will have a different body. But you are not lamenting, are you? Is anybody lamenting? Oh, I still want the child body. Oh, I still want the youth body. Anybody of you lamenting? Yes, no?
No.
Rest of you silence. Are you lamenting?
No, Prabhuji.
No,
No,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we
So
don't want to get old, actually.
old is, I understand, because you don't want to suffer. But if you are not lamenting in this life, when your body is changing, which is internal reincarnation, therefore Krishna is explaining. So why do you lament when you get a new body? When you leave the current body after death, why do you lament at that time? So we'll discuss all those points. So here's a question for you all again. So we read in the translation the word sober. My question is, where and in what context have you heard the word sober? Everybody?
Drinking, Guruji.
Very good. Drinking, right? Intoxication, right? That's where you have heard the word, okay? Padma Kumar Prabhu also correctly says that when you are not drunk, that's when you are sober. So here's question number 2. So what is this intoxication referred to in this verse 2.13? The answer is my bodily concept is my intoxication. Therefore, the use of the word sober, that when one who is not intoxicated at the bodily level, he is called a sober person. So what is this basis of continuity? Krishna said that why do you have to lament when you leave the body and take the other body? So what is this basis of continuity? Understand with an example that if I am using a computer number 1, then I use computer number 2, but I as the user, I am remaining the same. Or even say some parts of the computer are changed, still the user stays the same. Therefore, Krishna is saying that don't worry about the bodies being changed, similar to how we don't worry about changes to the body within our current life. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? Seems easy to discuss, difficult to implement.
Yes,
Yes,
Guruji.
Guruji.
Very good. I am still stuck on this Krishna's first instruction. I am still trying to practice to get out of the body. Okay, very good. So let's practice memorization. So one of the question was that how do I practice Bhagavad Gita on a day-to-day basis? So I have on screen, and we will follow from screen. So what you do for memorization, if you try to memorize like a parrot, it will be very difficult for you to remember the verses. But if you understand the meaning of the line by line, then it becomes very easy to memorize. Most of the verses, the translation follows the line for line translation, meaning the first line, generally how the verse starts. Almost all, there are 1 or 2 verses which are not exactly in that sequence. But otherwise, it is exactly line by line. So first it says, Dehino asmin yatha dehe. What it says is, as in the body, we have the soul. That's the first line says. Then its second line says, Kaumaram Yovanam Jara. So Kaumaram means childhood, Yovanam means youth, and Jara means old age. That as we are body is going through the changes of childhood to youth to old age. Then the third line says, Tatha Dehantra Prapti. Similarly, upon death, you get a new body. And fourth line says, Dhiras Tatra Namuyati. That one who is Dhira, Dhira means one who is steady, one who is sober. Namuyati, he is not bewildered. So when you understand the word for word meaning or the line meaning, then it becomes easier to understand and memorize the words. And you can follow the word for word for each line. So for example, the first line says, Dehino asmin yatha dehe. And if you see the word for word, it says Dehino means of the embodied, asmin in this, means in this body. Yatha, as, dehe means in the body. So it clearly says as in the body there is a soul. Then Kaumaram, Yovanam, Jara also again explains that from boyhood to youth to old age. That Kaumaram is boyhood, Yovanam is youth, and Jara is old age. And this way, if you memorize, then it becomes easier because you are understanding what you are memorizing. So in terms of practice, many devotees from many batches, those who come for services with me here at the Toronto temple, they have memorized verses after verses after verses from many scriptures, from Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Sri Upanishad, Srimad Bhagavatam, and they recite while doing services. So Abhishek Prabhu had also asked a couple of classes back, or probably last class, that in terms of listening to Prabhupada lecture while doing other tasks is difficult. So I want you to first come to step number 1. So many devotees will say, well, I actually want to chant japa while doing services. Yes, it is correct. You chant japa, but you all tell me, when you all chant japa, whatever number of rounds you do japa, do you listen to your japa? Everybody, do you listen to your japa?
No, Prabhu.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, sometimes, not always.
Not always.
So, right? So this exercise of memorizing or reciting verses while you are doing activities, what it's doing is consciously making you force your mind onto Krishna's words. So there is no difference between Krishna and Krishna's words. This becomes a forceful act. Otherwise, I'm chanting, my mind is making my to-do list. It isn't giving you any benefit. But while you memorize verses, it makes you conscious, oh, my mind is agitated. We will soon have in our upcoming classes a lot of discussions about our mind. So start practicing this and you will be able to observe your mind this way, that my mind is agitated. It is everywhere. It is not under control. I need to do something to bring my mind under control. And to bring my mind under control, my step number 1 is first I need to know that my mind is agitated. Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So this is going to be your homework exercise, spiritual endeavor for today, is to memorize this verse. So I will now recite one line at a time, and you all unmute and listen and recite one line with me. And you can follow along the word for word meaning. If you are not able to pronounce, Prabhupada has given us exactly how we should be pronouncing these words and what they actually mean. Okay, so I will recite one line after me, and I will recite one line, and you all recite one line after me, please. 2.13. Dehino asmin yatha dehe.
Dehino
Ehino asmin
yatha
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 dehe.
Yatha dehe.
Kaumaram yovanam jara.
Kaumaram yauvanam
Yovanam jara.
Tatha dehantra prapti.
Tatha
Dehantra
dehantra
prapti.
prapti.
Dhirastatra namuyati.
Dhirastatra
Very good. Everybody on the same page? Everybody feels comfortable to memorize and recite verses like this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yeah, just take some practice.
Yeah, it's a practice. I'm not saying that you will become an expert next class. I'm not saying that. All I'm trying to say is make your hands wet with the Sanskrit pronunciation, as well as try to practice to see your mind. Devotees from all previous batches, oh, they see their mind. Any one of you want to see your mind?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Okay, not everybody, only few.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji,
So,
should I recite once?
Yeah, go ahead, Ritu. Very good.
Dehino asmin yatha dehe. Kaumaram yauvanam jara. Tata dehantar praptir. धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति.
Super excellent. That is super excellent pronunciation. So just continue memorizing. So when we do services, so Ritu does come for services here at the Toronto Temple, and you keep memorizing. And Ritu, you want to explain how I played the role of Gabbar Singh? Mansi was also there together with Ritu
It
doing the
was
same.
an excellent experience with Prabhuji.
Explain, Mansi, Ritu, explain what was going on.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Every time,
Actually,
yes,
while doing the services in the kitchen, so me and Ritu Mataji were talking about something else, and Prabhuji suddenly came there, and he told us to memorize the verse. And the whole, like, for the 3 or 4 hours, we recite the same verse, and the whole day I was thinking about that.
Okay, very
And
good.
it was so good that the like you said na, you have to remember Krishna 24/7. So that helped me a lot by
Yeah.
to remember Krishna.
Very good. And this Mansi and Ritu, what they were doing, and they are not the only one. You will also do the same. Everybody else has done the same thing. So mind has been the boss in our body for 155 trillion years in this cycle of creation. And now you are telling mind, so mind is a separate entity in our body, and mind has been the boss. And now you are telling mind, no, soul is the boss. So you recite verses and focus on the verses, and mind is not going to like it. Therefore, what the mind does is mind tries to distract you. So I gave Mansi and Ritu to memorize verses. They were doing something else. And I came, Are Baba, I told you to do something. And when the mind distracts, this is how you see your mind. Because this is what the mind is going to do to you again and again and again and again and again and again and again till you become a pure devotee. So this is what you catch your mind every time the mind tries to play tricks on you, and you keep bringing the mind back again and again, back on hearing Krishna, back on putting soul as the boss, not the mind. And the mind is going to be fighting back. Mind is very powerful. We'll discuss in 6.33 and 34. Arjuna will describe that mind is very powerful. Mind is definitely very powerful, but we will learn. A lot of discussions about the mind are coming up in our upcoming classes. So start practicing. And when you remember Krishna 24 hours, then you are basically acting at the level of soul 24 hours. Everybody on the same page?
yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you. So question posted in the chat is the word dehino, embodied. So what it means is, if you look at word for word translation, thank you for watching it closely. Dehino, it says of the embodied, meaning the soul which is in the conditional life that is embodied by the physical and the subtle body. That's what he's saying, that the soul is inside the body. Therefore, it's referring to of the embodied, meaning it's referring to the soul. Dehino is the soul, but soul which is inside the body. Does that answer the question? All right. Thank you. So Krishna told to Arjuna that, why are you worrying that the person leaves the body and gets the new body, probably a better body? So why you are worrying? So Arjuna is asking a question here. Well, my relatives will die and I will be the cause of their death. Therefore, Krishna responds to Arjuna in the next verse 2.14 that you will have to learn to tolerate. Dipali, now are you able to recite or 2.14 translation?
Yes, Prabhuji. One second. Yes, coming. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in the due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. O scion of Bharat, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
So, Krishna says, learn to tolerate. So, in today's world, tolerance may seem as incompetence. Some may say, you are not acting. But the ability to insulate ourselves from our surroundings enables us to stay focused and stay protected. Tolerance is not incompetence. Rather, tolerance is vigilance to keep ourselves focused on what is important. Life is meant for gaining spiritual realization and spiritual advancement. Therefore, tolerance is not weakness. You are just trying to focus on what is the most important point. Tolerance means whatever events happen, we keep our priority fixed. The biggest battle for all of us, at least for me, is to keep the biggest battle as the biggest battle. Means my biggest problem is to keep my first priority as the first priority. What is my first priority? To keep Krishna in the center and to advance on the path of spirituality. I have a struggle. So I need to tolerate other distractions. Because when we start the battle, we want to put our energy, our heart into it, but then these distractions keep coming again and again, and we get distracted and end up doing something else. So tolerance enables us to keep first things first. Questions, comments, realizations? Okay. Srirang Prabhu, 2.15 translation from the screen.
Hare Krishna. Let me increase the size. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation.
So here Krishna is giving the result, the fruit of liberation, of the fruit of eternal life, that by tolerance, one will achieve liberation. Smith Prabhu, 2.16 translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
So Krishna is referring to material and spiritual nature, specifically referring to body and soul. The purport Prabhupada explains, the non-existent means temporary, means body. So world is illusion because it is temporary. Illusion is not that the world does not exist, but the illusion is our inability to see the world in relation to Krishna. Ritu, 17 translation and paragraph number 1.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body in part or as a whole. This spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. This soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size.
Okay, so there are a lot of details given about the soul, a lot of characteristics about the soul in the verses that we're going to read now, up to verse number 30. So here it starts that you can perceive the presence of the soul by consciousness, and the size of the soul is 1/10,000th part of a upper tip of a hair. So this spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body, meaning I know my pain. You cannot know my pain. I may verbally say, oh, I am very feeling a lot of pain, but that's just a verbal. You cannot know my pain in terms of the degree I am feeling the pain. These pains and pleasures are unique to each one of us. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to the other body. And in the further purport, Prabhupada goes on to explain that material body minus consciousness means it's a dead body. This consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but consciousness is due to spirit, soul. Questions, comments, realizations? Matan Prabhu, 18, 19 translation and 19 purport.
Okay, 18. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is what to come to an end. Therefore, fight or descend in Bharata. Purport. The material body.
19 translation and 19 purport.
Okay. 19. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. When an embodied living entity is hurt by a fatal weapon, it is to be known that a living entity within the body is not killed. The spirit soul is so small that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapon, as will be evident from subsequent verses. Nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is ma him yat sarva bhutani. Never commit violence to anyone. Nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically.
Okay, very good. So, Krishna explains that there is no cause for lamentation from both viewpoints. First, because soul cannot be killed. And second, material body cannot be saved. So this verse is not a license for killing indiscriminately. Soul is not killable because of spiritual constitution. So this neither encourages killing of body nor encourages animal slaughter. The Vedic injunction is to never commit violence. killing without authority is abominable and is punishable. So Krishna says to lament for the temporary body is ignorance. When someone thinks, including Arjuna at this time, when someone thinks that I am the killer, the mentality is I am the doer. But we'll soon read in and understand in 3.27 that I am not the doer of anything. Material nature is the doer and executor of everything. Of course, there are 5 things that come together for any activity to happen. We'll discuss as we progress. Here, Krishna is talking about the overall pattern of material nature, that body is perishable, that destruction cannot be avoided. Plus, Krishna is talking about Arjuna's Kshatriya duty. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that by Arjuna trying to run away from his duty, it is not going to change the natural course of nature, that if Arjuna does not kill, no, the people standing on the other side of the army, they are still going to die, because body is perishable. And simultaneously, the soul is eternal. The soul does not die ever. Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yeah.
It says killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as the law of the Lord. But my question is, what do you mean by authorization? I mean, in this material world, how do we, or who decides who is authorized to do a killing and who is not?
So understand with an example. Say in a court case, a judge gives the order that so-and-so person should be hanged for whatever crime he has done. So judge has the authority of law, and the person executing does not get any bad credit because he is just executing the killing based on higher authority. Krishna is the highest authority. None of us are pure enough to judge whether I am trying to kill someone because it is Krishna's will or because it is my contaminated envy that is making me kill. So in the material world, for the material world law, yes, there is a court system. Here, Krishna is talking to Arjuna as a supreme judge. Krishna is the supreme judge, and Krishna is giving the authority to Arjuna to kill the people on the other side because they have become aggressors, which are described in 1.36 purport, the 6 kinds of aggressors. Krishna says if you kill them, then there is no reaction. So Arjuna single-handedly killed majority of the people on the other side. Arjuna got 0 reaction because he was acting on behalf of the highest judge, Krishna. But we cannot apply this in the material world unless you are a pure devotee. Pure devotee can apply this, but pure devotee will have a lot of compassion before he takes the killing as an option. So you can judge for yourself. Are you a pure devotee, Smith Prabhu, or anybody else?
No, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so you don't have the right to kill anyone.
But then, Prabhuji, the one who is authorized in this material world, I'm pretty sure, let's say the judge or whatever, who is the authorized, they are not so well spiritually. So how can I believe that since they are not a devotee of Krishna and they are not pure soul, then how would I trust them that okay, you are the authorized person and whatever you will say, I'll do it? I mean, that's
so the law of karma comes into play. What the judge is doing in the material world is simply following the law of karma. And what Krishna is explaining is actually an extension of the law of karma. So law of karma says I have done something wrong in the previous life or even in this life, and I should be punished, and there are rules and regulations for this. Now, killing is little jarring to discuss. Take a simple example of running a red light while you are driving. So there is a simple law. Okay, red light, you should not be running. You will have a picture taken by the camera there, or police will catch you. So you are breaking law and you will pay a fine. So it's not necessarily killing here, but you do believe when the judge tells you, you ran a red light, you have to pay a fine. Versus where the other judge, where the crime is so grievous, where the judge says, okay, your punishment is you are to die. So in both scenarios, the person gets punishment. One is a smaller crime of running a red light. Other is a grievous crime. So those are material laws. And it's not the judge doing it by himself. There are multiple individuals involved. There are rules to follow that according to the law, they are making judgment on this. Of course, in India or other countries, law could be a challenge to question. But at least here in North America, you do have some lawness around here. Smith Prabhu, does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Very good. Rest of you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Padma Kumar Prabhu, verse 20 and 21 translations, are you able to read?
Okay, Prabhu. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, everlasting, and primal. He is not slain when the body is slain. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill?
So unborn means soul did not come into existence at a particular time. When we say born means someone came into existence at a particular time, like how we all were born at a particular time. And born means the one who is born also has to exit from existence at a particular time. So soul is beyond the dimension of time because soul is transcendental. So we already discussed about consciousness and soul. So what's the difference between soul and consciousness? So soul is the root of consciousness, meaning the soul expresses itself, its presence in the body via consciousness. Questions, comments, realizations? Abhishek Prabhu, 22 translation.
Hare Krishna. As a person puts on new garments, giving up the old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
So the process of transmigration by which soul moves from one body to another body is described. What happens after death is conveyed through an example of a changing dress. That we all change dresses every day, like you put on a shirt, one shirt today, another one next day. So dress is important, but we don't have permanent relationship with a dress. After the dress becomes old or torn, I will change the dress. and the person is different from the dress. Similarly, for the soul as a person is different from the body as a dress. So on top of our body, we put on a shirt. But if you look just from the body and the soul has put on the body as a dress. And each body or each dress, mean the body as a dress, is to serve a particular purpose or an inclination that we have. Questions, comments, realizations?
I have a question.
Yeah, Matan Prabhu.
The soul is so small, very tiny. How is it possible to make the entire body works? I mean, like the body able to function, yet the soul is so tiny. How can we understand?
Yeah, it's the size is not matter, it's the power that matters. Soul is very powerful, that the same tiny soul can make the body of an ant run or a human run or an elephant run or a dinosaur. The soul is very powerful. So our entire body functions not because of any bodily ability. All the abilities that we get in our body comes because of the soul. So that size is, you can say it's misleading if you compare the size of the body versus the soul. It's a power that you have to compare. The body is useless. The body is just a shell. But it's the power that comes from the soul. Matan Prabhu? Okay, so there's a question posted in the chat. What is consciousness? So we read in 2.17, the symptom of the soul is consciousness. So you can judge through person being awake or being conscious, means the soul is present in the body. And when the soul leaves the body, means the person loses his consciousness, is not able to function at all. So if you go to 2.17 purport, in the very first paragraph we read, towards the very last line of the first paragraph, it says, the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. Does that answer the question? All right, thank you. So next few verses, we will read them together. They're pretty straightforward. They have explanations, or not explanation, but descriptions and characteristics of the soul. Very straightforward verses. So we will read 23 to 28 translations together. Mansi?
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 23. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, not burned by fire, not moistened by water, and not withered by the air. Text 24. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Text 25. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Text 26. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born or and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty arm. Text 27. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So, which is text 28. Should I continue?
Yeah, 28 also.
Okay. Text 28. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their in interim state, and unmanifest again when inhalated. So, what need is there to for the lamentation?
So pretty straightforward, where Krishna is just saying that soul is eternal and has given a lot of characteristics of the soul, that no way it is possible for the soul to be killed. Verse number 29 is well-known verse, is known as an amazing verse in two ways. Monarch Prabhu, 29 translation.
Hare Krishna, text 29. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
The word amazing came so many times. So somebody sees the soul as amazing, means one who is enlightened can see that the soul is illuminating the entire body of a giant animal as well as a tiny animal, just what we discussed with Matan Prabhu's question. So those who can see this, they are amazed. Then second, some speak about the soul as amazing, that they understand more and more about the soul and they speak more and more. Third way is some hear about the soul and they are amazed that when they hear about the soul is eternal, they are amazed. And fourth point is that some cannot understand the soul at all. Example, advanced devotee one time was giving a class saying that you are not this body. You are not your body. And then one person in the audience, he asked a question. Well, then whose body am I? Why? Because he just cannot come out of the bodily concept. So the person is so locked in bodily concept of life. And this amazing, the first way was about the soul, and the amazing acharyas have explained also applies to people. So this is the second way. In the second way, the first is those who are able to see the soul are amazing. Obviously, somebody at that level is definitely amazing. Second point is those who have the knowledge of the soul and speak about the soul are very rare, means they are also amazing. Because they are amazing, they are able to talk about the soul and get out of bodily concept of life. They may not necessarily be pure devotees, but they are still able to share the message of Krishna. And they are also very rare and they are also amazing. And we know that there are so few preachers in the world who share Krishna consciousness. Therefore, they are amazing, all these preachers. Third point is that some hear about the soul, that those who come to inquire about Krishna, they are also rare, they are precious, therefore they are also amazing. And fourth point is that those who cannot understand the soul are also amazing, because it is sad. This fourth point is in a sarcastic way, amazing word used. That it is amazing that you cannot understand even after so much explanation. That every day you see so many people die, yet everyone thinks, oh, I am secure, I am not going to die. Oh, this is amazing, means this is amazingly stupid. And Srila Prabhupada says, why some people don't understand even after hearing is because they have either don't know or they are too attached to material things, and attachment blinds them. Questions, comments, realizations before we discuss the last verse and spiritual endeavor? Okay, everybody has read. Whosoever wants to read verse number 30 translation and the first two lines in the purport.
Should I read it, Prabhuji?
You need to go ahead. You can read the whole purport also.
Okay. Verse 30. O descendant of Bharat, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living entity. Purport. The Lord now concludes the chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul in describing the immortal soul in various ways. Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and teacher, Bhishma and Drona, will die in the battle. On the authority of Sri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body, not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged. But at the time of war, it is not discouraged when there is actual need for it. That need must be satisfied in terms of the sanction of the Lord and not capriciously.
Okay, thank you. So, at least theoretically, understand that you are a soul and you are not this body. Only then Bhagavad Gita will make a lot more sense. If you are stuck at bodily level, it will become very difficult to understand. So I'm not saying you first come to the soul level. It is very difficult. All I'm saying is at least theoretically accept that you are not this body. You are a soul, and take baby steps to coming completely realizing that you are a soul and completely coming out of the bodily concept of life. So in this section 2 of chapter 2, which is verses 11 to 30 that we covered today, it talks about the soul in detail. Krishna has given the Atma Gyan to counter Arjuna's first argument, the compassion argument, to not fight. And to counter Arjuna's compassion reason to not fight, Krishna says, from both viewpoints, that temporary body cannot be saved, an eternal soul cannot be killed. Therefore, compassion for the temporary body is ignorance. Questions, comments, realizations?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So when the soul leaves the body, what happens to the Paramatma?
Very good. So, same question was asked a couple days back in the batch 3 and 4, almost similar. You must have heard the recording as well. So I have described Paramatma with an analogy of a reflection of a moon in the bucket. So Paramatma is one. Paramatma doesn't change. And the other analogy is about the sun. So if you look up in the sky, the sun is on top of you. And if you call somebody far away in a different city, different country, he will say, oh, no, sun is on top of me also. But it is actually one sun. Similarly, Paramatma is one. Paramatma is not divided. And the other analogy is you understand with the reflection of water in a bucket. So you put 8 buckets and the moon gets reflected in 8 buckets. Moon is one, but is reflected in 8 buckets. So similarly, Paramatma is one, and Paramatma expands in all these zillions of bodies that we have. But still, from the material world example, there's still difference with the Paramatma. Say in the 8 buckets, you shake one of the bucket. It's only in the bucket that you are shaking that the moon appears to be shaking. Rest of the buckets, the moon is not shaking, which means the Paramatma has a one-on-one link with the individual soul in the body. When the soul leaves the body, the soul takes with it the mind, intelligence, and ego to the next body. And depending on when the next body is ready, the Paramatma will also get reflected with the soul in the next body. So Paramatma is one. Paramatma doesn't get divided. It's just that, say, when in the bucket analogy, you had 8 buckets. You replace one bucket, means the person has died, and you bring another bucket and put there. Or even say the person is not dead, you put the 9th bucket and the moon will get reflected in the 9th bucket also. It's just that Paramatma keeps expanding. And I will show you visual for this Paramatma expanding about in the universe manifestation. As we progress, I'm going to show you the visual. Does that help you for the time being?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Very good. Very good inquiry. Questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna, one question.
Yeah, Prabhu, Sharon, Prabhu, go ahead.
So is soul and consciousness the same thing, or they are two different concepts?
They are one and the same. It means that the symptom of the presence of soul in the body is reflected through consciousness. So you know the person is awake, the person is chitta. Chitta means consciousness. And the soul is the source of the consciousness, means soul is projecting itself that, okay, I am in the body, is projected through consciousness. Does that help you?
Yes.
Very good. So homework questions. Monarch Prabhu has a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, why soul is denoted as he if different from bodily conception?
So the scriptures are written as he, but all souls are actually females. It's just that I can't remember where I have read it, but one place it describes that the entire scriptures are written as he, as Nara, means in the male form. But actually, all souls are females. We discussed this in our previous class. It's just that the way the scriptures are written.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you.
All right. So everybody take notes, and somebody will repeat the homework questions. That's not a lot, but still someone will repeat the questions. In terms of volume of questions may seem lot, but they are straightforward questions. Question number 1, mandatory homework question, spiritual endeavor question. You will populate the answers on the Google form link that I will post in the WhatsApp group. Question number 1, mandatory. Between happiness and distress, what will you prefer? So again, Abhishek Prabhu was saying, meditate on the question. These seemingly innocuous open-ended questions are going to make you think. You may ponder on the answers being from one of the 8 answers. That's not what you have to write, but I'm saying you might think, yes, no, maybe, maybe not, or some other answer, or 2.7 as your answer that, oh, I am now surrendered. or all of the above, or none of the above. There are so many options with a very simple, innocuous, open-ended question. Next, read verses and purports of the verses we covered till today. So we have covered till chapter 2, verse number 30. Next, memorize 2.13 verse. So even if you want to recite at the next class by looking at the verse is also okay. Just try. It's an attempt for you to memorize. I'm not going to hold a gun to your head why you didn't memorize. No, attempt. All I'm saying is attempt. Next, I'm going to send a 3-minute lecture in the chat, which is titled Why You Should Memorize. Chaitanya Chandas will explain that memorization is a ready-made tool to remember Krishna. So our first question for today was how to practice Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to send you that lecture, and I'm giving you endeavor also to memorize 2.13. The last question for today is again what Abhishek Prabhu had asked me earlier. I'm going to send you Prabhupada lecture, and I am going to give you pointers for Prabhupada lecture. So on the Google form also you can point answers to these pointers. This Prabhupada lecture is also a spectacular lecture on 2.13, which says first lesson, not this body. So I'm going to give you 8 pointers for Prabhupada lecture, which is going to help you listen to Prabhupada lecture more attentively. Although we'll do this practice later on. Again, with both these exercises, I'm trying to get you practice of Bhagavad Gita to be able to learn to see your mind and control your mind. So for Prabhupada lecture from the 8 points, point number 1, what does Srila Prabhupada refer this verse as and why? Second, describe materialistic person's viewpoint. Materialistic are karmis, jnanis, and yogis. Third, what is this body? Fourth, what does Srila Prabhupada say about imperfect senses? Fifth, how to control senses. Sixth point, describe a sober person or dhira. Seventh point, what does chanting mean? Eighth point, there are many other points in the lecture which you can capture by yourself. So I have given you for the first part of the lecture, I have given you a hand holding exercise. And for our 8th point onwards, you can continue that exercise. Everybody on the same page? Who wants to repeat the homework question? These Prabhupada lecture points, I will anyway post the same points in the Google link document as well. Somebody quickly, we are just about at 4 p.m.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I?
Yeah, Monak Prabhu, go ahead.
So question number 1 is, between happiness and de-stress, what will you prefer? Question number 2, read all the verses and purports till we have covered today. Question number 3, memorize verse number 2.13. Question number 4, 3-minute lecture which you will send that why one should memorize key verses. And question number 5, Prabhupada's lecture and 8 pointers which you will send. So there are 8 subparts. First one is, what does Srila Prabhupada refers this verse as and why? Second, describe materialistic person viewpoints. So materialistic persons, karmis, jnanis and yogis. Third one, what is this body? Fourth one, what does Srila Prabhupada say about imperfect senses? Fifth, how to control senses. Sixth, describe a sober person or dhira. Seventh, what does chanting mean? And eighth, there are many other pointers which we can mention.
Very good. Super excellent capture of the homework points. Any questions, comments, realizations? So I will repeat the announcements that I made at the start. So coming Saturday, 26th October, 10:30 a.m. Toronto time, we have a special Kartik session with our Siksha Guru, His Grace Bhakti Yoga Prabhu, on the topic of Ekadashi. So there will be no other regular class. This session on Saturday with Bhakti Yoga Prabhu is in lieu of regular class. Devotees from all 7 batches will attend this session with Bhakti Yoga Prabhu. So my Zoom account has a limit of 100 participants. Therefore, to judge the required Zoom capacity, I request all of you to please answer ASAP on the poll, which I will post tomorrow, not tomorrow, Monday morning. I will post the poll. You please respond ASAP either way, whether you will attend or whether you will not attend, so I can judge the Zoom capacity, whether I need to increase or not. And the other announcement I made at the start was that I will be rearranging the class days and times for all batches because of multiple reasons. And this batch number 6 will get combined with batch number 7. The combined batch will happen on Saturday, just at an earlier time, probably around 10:30, 11. I haven't nailed down the time. I'm still waiting for information. The other batches will all happen on Sundays, will happen early also. So I will try to have minimum impact on everybody, with the understanding that I will not be able to accommodate 100% of requests with so many batches and devotees from so many multiple locations. So it's an opportunity for you to practice, as well as you can connect with me. I will share information as it becomes reasonably shareable, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, just past 4 p.m. here in Toronto time. Are we okay to stop here?
Hare
Yes,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji.